Welcome back to Singer Dad Reacts. My name is Josh. I appreciate all of you Deanna Ankudinova fans waiting patiently for me to get to another reaction. I have decided to go back to her early beginnings, to Oh Darling from when she was 10 years old. I decided the same thing with Angelina, actually, for those of you that may have seen the new reaction I posted of her and her experience when she was 6. I want to really see these amazing artists, in their early beginnings, similar to what I'm doing with Dimash, right? Where looking at them from where they started and kind of watching and following their progression. I think it's just a much better way to, and I think part of it has to do with the fact that I am a writer. For those that may not know, I write middle grade fantasy. And actually, for those that because people notice the stuff behind me, and if you notice the only book facing out, that's actually my book. And I have links to that down in the description of each of my reactions. I'm not sure if any of you have checked that out, but if you're interested, check that out. You can learn a little bit more about that and go to my website and stuff like that. But anyway, so part of being a writer and kind of telling a story is, seeing the beginning and watching the arc of the character over a period of time and then seeing where they progress to, right? And so I think that's why I really wanted to, look at their journey and see that full progression from an early start through until the present day. So with that, I have the lyrics up here for Oh Darling from the Beatles. And as I mentioned in one of my previous reactions, I am a huge Beatles fan. So this is a treat to be able to see her do a Beatles cover. But the lyrics are, Oh darling, please believe me, I'll never do you no harm. Believe me when I tell you, I'll never do you no harm. Oh darling, if you leave me, I'll never make it alone. Believe me when I beg you, don't ever leave me alone. When you told me you didn't need me anymore, well, I nearly broke down and cried. When you told me you didn't need me anymore, well, I nearly broke down and died. Oh, darling, if you leave me, I'll never make it alone. Believe me when I tell you, I'll never do you no harm. Believe me, darling, when you told me you didn't need me anymore, well, I nearly broke down and cried. When you told me you didn't need me anymore, well, I nearly fell down and died. Oh, darling, please believe me. I'll never let you down. Oh, believe me, darling. Believe me when I tell you, I'll never do you no harm. So, those are the lyrics. So, yeah, again, it's kind of this lost love, similar to the song that Angelina sang. It's this person trying to get someone that's broken up with them to come back to them, I think. Or this person said, hey, I don't need you anymore. And the person singing is begging them to let them come back and to try again. And how much they mean to them and stuff like that. So let's see how Deanna interprets this. Again, these young artists are, and Angelina was amazing. You can watch my reaction for that, but I'm shocked by these young performers and how they're able to bring it. So I'm sure that the same will be true here with her. So let's get right into it here. Nice. she's got, again, it's the same thing that happened with Angelina. It's like I'm surprised by their tone at these young ages, that they already have some substance behind their voices. And her English actually is really good. She seems to be one that's really natural at singing other languages. I've been impressed with her abilities on that front. And again, the confidence level to go into a studio like that and just own it. I mean, at her age, it's awesome. Let me go back just a little bit here. Hear the richness in her voice. The other thing I'm impressed with here is her rhythm. Her rhythm's really good. You can see that she's kind of bouncing with the rhythm. She's got a good sense of timing and rhythm. I'm sure that came like at an early age. She feels the music. I think that's part of it, just from what I've seen of her and what you all have said about her natural abilities. You can kind of see it coming through here at an early age, that she feels it. She really feels it. It's a part of her, and just like a pulse that she can feel. So the rhythm comes naturally to her. But yeah, and she's got her tone, especially like on some of those lower notes. It's really coming through. It's already fairly rich for her age. And as I mentioned in my Angelina reaction, I've heard a lot of young voices. My wife taught private voice for years, and so she would have them come over and she would work with them, and so a lot of young kids, and especially like at her age, 10 years old. So my wife had some students that were 10 that she'd already worked with for maybe 2 or 3 years. And I can already tell that Deanna is, of course, beyond any of the ones that I've heard at this age. She's really good. Let's see. Wow. She's got really good instincts. She's doing some jumps too. She's jumping into the higher part of her range there. And again, the English, being able to sing the English, we kind of take that for granted, right? But I've sung in foreign languages, and you're always kind of thinking, oh, am I pronouncing it right? And what do the words mean again? So that takes a lot to pull it all together and to know what you're singing and to be able to, pronounce it correctly and still work on the things like she's doing with movement within the phrases. She's way beyond where I would guess she'd be at this age. Nice. Little falsetto. Look at her, yeah, she's got the rhythm. Wow. Wow. Man. She's good. That's crazy. And as I think I mentioned in the Angelina reaction, to have a young person like this go into a studio and have them just go in there and just own it. This looks like it's in one take, so it's like... so I'm wondering if any of you know, did she do it in one take? Did they have to go back in there? And, you know, is this take number 5 or something like that? I'm curious about that, because if someone at this age was able to just go in there and just nail it in one take, that's pretty amazing. Even in 2 or 3 takes, given the challenge of the language and everything else, that's still incredibly impressive. And she's owning this. Let's see. Go back just a little bit. Wow. Okay. Let me go back just to hear that last part one more time. I gotta hear that again. 1 second here. Maybe like right there. Here's that falsetto. Hear that resonance? Wow. That's just... that's crazy. Deanna. Man. She's a young star. To have that confidence and that ability to go in at 10 years old, different language, and just own it. And she added her own little stylizations too. I mean, it wasn't, she just didn't sing it straightforward. I mean, she added little things in there. So she had at an early age instincts about style and adding little kind of inflections and not necessarily runs. She didn't really do runs, but she did kind of little jumps and stylizations on the ends of phrases and things like that. And some of them called for her to kind of jump up, you know, to higher parts of her range and things like that. So required some control. But she's got a nice full resonant tone. Her falsetto is already coming through. Probably because she worked on the yodeling from an early age, it sounds like, from what you guys have said. So that helped a lot probably with her ability to kind of work on that upper register. I can't help but wonder if it's similar almost to Dimash, because she was working on the yodeling from an early age, when she first came into the orphanage. I think she was around 4 years old. So timing wise, if she started right away, which it sounds like she did, then she probably worked on that upper range kind of like Dimash did through 10 years old and through when she became a teenager and things like that. And that's one of the keys they talk about, right, in maintaining as your voice changes. It's a bigger deal with guys, obviously, but it's still important when they're younger, as women as well, as girls, to work on that. So that may have helped her a lot to kind of fill out that range and work on the transitions, working through the bridges. So that's what those areas are called, right? I don't think I've really talked about that, but when you're talking about going from your chest voice to your head voice, there's a bridge that occurs when you hit the top part of your chest voice. Then you kind of feel that happen. If you haven't worked on that at all, then you kind of feel it break, and then it goes into this kind of lighter tone, and that's what the people call the falsetto, right? There's different terminologies, right? But the falsetto basically is kind of that lighter head voice. And you've heard Dimash use it if you're a Dimash fan, right? Where he's kind of using a lighter head voice, where it's not. And in fact, So Young, she has kind of the falsetto, lighter head voice at the beginning of Arirang Alone. So that's kind of a falsetto, kind of a lighter head voice. So Deanna is kind of using that, but hers is fairly strong at this point already on a few of the notes in the song here. But yeah, so I'm impressed. I'm excited to kind of follow her progression, to watch some more of her performances and react and really see her grow as an artist. As I mentioned in another reaction, I'm also like a super fan of the underdog and someone that rises above to overcome the things that have happened to them and succeed in life. And she's definitely fits that mold with the things she dealt with growing up and some of the challenges she had and as a young child and things she had to deal with. So bravo to her for finding something that really brings meaning to her life and fulfills her in music. And I can understand to some degree the role that music plays in her life, because I think, as I've mentioned before, when I was basically like around 2 years old, when I first spoke, my mom said I was singing and really like into music, listening to music all the time. You know, I'd had at that point like a record player, kind of dating myself now, but or a tape player, and I would listen to a lot of different types of music, a lot of Broadway and pop and different styles of music at that point. But I was singing a lot, and I started performing when I was around 4 in front of audiences and things like that at a very early age. So I can kind of understand where she's coming from and her desires as a young person to sing and have music be a big part of her life. So I'm excited again, like I said, to continue on the Deanna journey. And I thank you all for your patience. And if you want to continue to comment as to what you would suggest as far as what I watch next, I already kind of have quite a few comments on that. But if you have anything else you want to add to that. The main thing also I want to get right is the versions. It backfired on the whole Angelina thing, right? So, and some of you have commented on that, and I feel bad about it. But it's like she got the golden buzzer in the video that I chose, which I still don't understand, didn't have the golden buzzer moment in it. And so when I did the reaction, that part wasn't there. And so it was a letdown for, I'm sure, those of you that watch the reaction. So those are the types of things that I want to avoid. But I don't want to go and know ahead of time that she had the golden buzzer so I can go search for that particular YouTube video, because then it's like I'm kind of ruining it for myself, right? That moment happened. So that's part of why I didn't go out searching for it and didn't have that particular video. So what I can do though is have you all make your recommendations on which YouTube video to use that you've all seen before many times that would be the right one for me to react to. So that is where you can really help me a lot in pointing me in the right direction for pulling down the correct YouTube video, and preferably if it's a song that's in another language, if there are English subtitles, that'll make it a better, more full experience for me and also for you, I think. So those types of things are super helpful. If you could help me on that, I'd appreciate it. And of course, if you haven't already, if you could please subscribe, click the notifications so that you can be notified of any of the new Deanna reactions and any others you may be interested in. I would greatly appreciate that. Thank you, and take care.